How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Viva La Coin. I am Joe. I will be your host today, and what we're going to cover is one of my all-time favorite cryptocurrencies over the course of the past couple years, and who I believe will not only soon become a top 10 cryptocurrency in the world, but also a major player in changing the way that we handle business and supply chain across the world. And that is VeChain. VeChain is a cryptocurrency that is the top leader in supply chain and operations tracking that is going to revolutionize the way that businesses operate from their in-house supply chain, where they're building products and manufacturing things and transporting them, all the way to consumer data and retail interaction. Now, this video is something I've been wanting to put together since the start of the channel, and it's going to be a little bit complicated to tackle. So I'm going to try and keep it as surface level as possible so that we don't lose everyone along the way, and I'm just going to boil it down to the important parts that I think will show the value of VeChain, why I personally have it in the top 5 of my portfolio holdings, and what I think is to come for the future of this cryptocurrency. So if you could, smash like on the video, share this if this is informational and useful to you in your decision making moving forward, and let's just dive right into it. So what I'm going to show you first is just VeChain as a whole in CoinMarketCap. Now, right now, they are the 20th largest cryptocurrency by market cap on the planet, with a market cap of $4.2 billion. And although they're a little bit down today, as you can see over the course of even the past couple weeks, they have slowly started to climb upwards and climb the charts as well. Now, what VeChain does essentially is they help businesses in front to back supply chain management. So that isn't just creating products and making sure that from a quality control standpoint or a delivery standpoint, they get to where they're going. But supply chain is so much more important when it comes to specific items, whether that is a real life example of we were just rolling out coronavirus vaccines all around the world. How do you track them? How do you make sure they get to the right place? Or sometimes you're transporting very sensitive technology and equipment to different places. How are you sure where it's going? Or if you're a large retail store such as Walmart, how do you track all your items and data, where they're sold, who's purchasing them, when they're arriving, what your stocks are in those different places? You would think that this is a problem that we would have solved over the course of the previous couple decades with technology, but due to human error and inaccuracies along the way, it just leaves so much room for human error. And even at 1% error rate across the entire board, that adds up to billions of dollars in all the different businesses and the things in which they do, and VeChain helps to solve that. Now, from a applicability standpoint, VeChain is one of the most actively used cryptocurrencies on earth right now. Whereas you'll have your Cardanos that have a ton of promise in their network and blockchain, and you'll have these different NFT blockchains coming up, and they're just starting to get use in their digital art and working with musicians and selling all their information. VeChain has partnerships that these other networks, including networks like Ethereum, would drool over, just in how applicable this is in the real-time markets, and it's already actively being used in multiple countries as we speak. And I believe that's part of why, as the economies begin to reopen post-COVID, they are going to continue to rise up this chart, and they are going to be actively used on a much, much wider scale. Now, they are right around 6.5 cents right now. The overall circulating supply is right around 64 billion VET, which is the ticker for VeChain, and their max supply is 86 billion. Now, I'm talking about them in the context of if you are someone that watches this channel and you're considering what other altcoins could you invest in that I believe have solid fundamentals in real use cases moving forward that aren't going to be a pump and dump or something that they're going to collapse or get hacked, or it's not some list, 5,000 down that you're just picking and hoping and praying. I have so much confidence in VeChain personally, and it's a project that I would put my own stamp of approval on. Now, when we look at where they've been in the past, I've actually been buying them for some time. I had VeChain and their secondary cryptocurrency, VeThor, which is essentially the fuel that runs this cryptocurrency. I was purchasing them back in the previous bull run. So I've been on the VeChain wagon for some time, and I accumulated more over the course of last year to make sure that my bags were packed for this specific scenario. But I do believe it's not too late to get in right now. They tend to move a little bit slower solely because a lot of their adoption and use cases are based on functioning economies. Now, where they are most predominantly used at the moment would be your Asian markets, such as China is probably the biggest use case country at the moment. And a lot of their markets were also hit hard by the pandemic. But as things begin to open and as all of these different economies tie in VeChain to their supply chains, I believe that's going to continue to skyrocket and drive that price up further. Now, to dive into VeChain and just what it is or how it functions, maybe what some of the benefits are, to give you a little bit of an idea, I'm going to show you their website. It is a very data-heavy website, so I'm going to be careful to not bore you to death with it. I'm going to try and keep it very brief. If you want to know where to find them, or any other cryptocurrency for this matter, this website, I use CoinMarketCap. If you go on there and click into any cryptocurrency like VeChain, right above their charts, the second tab, it says market. If I click that, I can see what exchanges they're located on. I can see if it's a good exchange, if it has high confidence in it, and I can see where the most volume is. Now, I personally used to buy them on Binance, the international version of the platform, but they are also available on Binance US. So if you watched our series on Binance and you created your profile, you will be able to purchase them on Binance US as well. And that's where I purchase most of mine currently as I continue to buy it. But onto their website, I'll put a link for this website down in the description so you can go through and dig as deep as you want to. But VeChain Thor is what it's listed as here. And Thor is the fuel that runs everything, but the whole chain is known as VeChain Thor. It is a public blockchain that derives its value from activities created by members within the ecosystem, solving real-world economic problems. Now, what type of problems do we possibly have to solve? Well, let's ask, what is VeChain? So it's the world's leading blockchain application platform driven by enterprise adoption. So when we're looking at where are certain shortcomings in our current supply chain for different businesses, let's look at what solutions they provide to some of the problems that we currently face. So we have a digital carbon ecosystem solution. So you know that global warming is one of the largest issues that we face as a species on this planet. And even with the Paris Climate Accords and all of these different countries aiming to lower their emission rates, we still struggle to try and curb that increasing temperature globally as we keep ramping up our productions. So VeChain's digital carbon ecosystem is a groundbreaking blockchain and IoT, which is just Internet of Things. It's the interoperability of all the different technologies and systems tied together. Groundbreaking blockchain and IoT powered carbon reduction platform, which utilizes economic incentives to encourage both individuals and enterprises to participate in the reduction of carbon emissions. So whether it is a piece of technology or equipment that you use that puts out a certain amount of carbon emissions, or if you're trying to reduce a certain output of total emissions, we're going to be able to track that more effectively using VeChain technology and in those different things as they operate. consumer confidence index platform. So as a blockchain-based digital authentication solution designed for retailing, PSCIP's mathematical model generates a unique confidence index for each product according to data on VeChain Thor, all collected and verified by another acronym that I don't know what that stands for, but here's the point. If you buy a luxury good, or if you're buying medicine, or if you're purchasing something that is either expensive or is applicable in a piece of technology or an effect, you have to make sure that it is authentic. You would be amazed, even during the whole pandemic, how many people were selling fake N95 masks, just as one example, let alone different vaccines that people are pumping out from different places. If you buy a designer handbag, how can you be sure if it's authentic? All these different things and how we track it and how we're accountable for what is what it's supposed to be can be authenticated and tracked through VeChain technology. Automotive passport solution. So with the automobile solution, VeChain assigns newly manufactured vehicles with a unique VeChain ID and a digital passport that covers the entire life cycle of the vehicle. This solution, which is not only useful for automotive markets, but any original equipment manufacturer, empowers brands to ensure auto part authenticity and share unique vehicle data with multiple stakeholders. So whether it is you putting out a vehicle and wanting to know where those parts are from or where it's going, or let's say you're buying a used vehicle and you want data on it, now you're going to be able to track it without people falsifying different reports or where things are from. You just can't rip a license plate off the back of a car and solder off, a couple different IDs and call it new. We're going to be able to look at, the history of those pieces of technology, in this case, vehicles. You have retail solutions. VeChain uses blockchain and the Internet of Things to implement traceability of retail products, entire life cycle in their management. So this end consumers can check and verify a product's information via the VeChain Pro mobile app. And you can check and see, where's this product been? Where was it sourced? How long ago was it sourced? Those questions that we ask ourselves about where our products come from, really where they come from, not just a tag on a t-shirt, but actually where that data comes from, it will be tracked and immutable, so you cannot falsify that information. You'll have logistic solutions, and this will enable users to record immutably and secure data throughout transportation processes, making it possible to create new logistics and business models. Again, I could go on and on about all the different issues that this solves, but at the end of the day, you have to look at how applicable is it to the markets in which blockchain is attempting to infiltrate. And this is about as big as it gets. And certain partnerships that they have, even with, let's say, Walmart. So Walmart in China teamed up with VeChain some time ago, and they're going to use them to trace their food products. Another client that uses VeChain is BMW. A lot of German companies are big on VeChain, and they want to start incorporating it into maybe their auto sales in where those vehicles are going. They were using VeChain to track coronavirus vaccines that they were putting out through Italy and Cyprus and that area of the world. So it is not only already being used, but the use cases are just too large to even fathom. So when you look at the overall market cap being $4.2 billion, the amount of solutions that this blockchain can provide and some of the problems that it solves, I think that this is a very solid bet on a place that I would invest my money if I was putting it into cryptocurrency. Again, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am simply some guy wearing Hawaiian shirts talking to you, trying to educate you about what specific blockchains do and where I think that they'll be valuable in the future. And finally, just one note I wanted to point out, VeChain was also the first 5-star rated blockchain service provider in the world, certified by a German-based company that certified them for use throughout China. But it's still, the amount of partnerships and actual adoption that they have is leaps and bounds beyond almost every other blockchain, including multiple cryptocurrencies in that top 25 list that you see people investing in. And that's where I think that they hold up a lot of their value. Now, I am open to any comments that you leave or any more in-depth information. Hopefully, leaving the site down below can help you to explore a little bit more if you want to learn more. I tried to warn you at the beginning, this is a very in-depth, complicated thing because it's not just, oh, here's this one thing and it solves this one problem. It has multiple use cases and multiple different solutions. So make sure to do your own research and hopefully you found this beneficial. If you did, like the video, share it to anyone that may benefit from that as well. And as always, thank you for joining us today on this episode of Viva La Coin.